given the enormous amount of death and destruction that Israel caused in Gaza, wouldn't you say that from the point of view that you describe, it would have to be considered a pretty big success by Israel?
It was successful in the sense that, of course, the Arab Muslim world looked on with a kind of a fear of the kind of damage that a state with Israel's military might can inflict. And it was clear, for example, that the Hezbollah, even though it gave moral support to the people of Gaza during the Israeli assault, they were very careful not to give any kind of military assault, because they knew full well that Israel would unleash its air force on Lebanon and do to Lebanon what it was doing to Gaza, and that would lose for Hezbollah a large amount of popular support. The Lebanese were not about to allow themselves to be destroyed in order to defend the people of Gaza. And so in that sense of intimidating the Arab Muslim world with Israel's capacity for sheer death and destruction, it was successful. On the other hand, Israel is committed to restoring its military prowess in a narrow sense, that is to show that it's still a fighting army and it's still capable of winning battlefield victories on the order of what it did in June 1967 and what it did at the end of the October 1973 war. That it's still the army of Moshe Dayan and all the rest. In that sense, no, it didn't succeed.
Just how imminent is this next Israeli war? What are the most recent developments?
The most recent developments probably lessen the likelihood of a war. Israel and the United States were hoping to use what's called the Special Tribunal on Lebanon, the STL, which was about to issue indictments against the Hezbollah for the assassination of the former Lebanese Prime Minister Hariri. But those plans, which would take too much time now to go into, those plans seem to have gone awry because the Special Tribunal on Lebanon has come under vigorous and convincing attack from the Hezbollah as being biased and being a vehicle for U.S.-Israeli plans in the Middle East. And so it does not look like the STL is going to succeed in the way Israel and the United States hoped it would, which is they hoped that because Hariri was Sunni, Hezbollah is Shia, that the indictment of the Hezbollah for the assassination of Hariri would create ethnic conflict and even civil war between the Sunnis and the Shia in Lebanon, and thereby soften Lebanon for an Israeli attack. But it doesn't seem like it's going to work. So it means that at least for now, Israel will have a problem attacking Lebanon.
Well, that's reassuring. Is there any chance that Israel will choose not to launch this war?
Well, I think on the Israeli side there is an element of desperation entering. Nasrallah gave a quite informative speech about, I think it was around last week. I put up on my website a crude translation of it. I can't get good translations. But basically he says that Israel is basically in the position that it can't attack in the short term because it's not confident of a military victory. On the other hand, it can't wait until the long term because it sees that the alignment of forces is turning against it in the region, that the so-called resistance front is getting stronger, and and Israel's position is getting weaker. And so Israel is in the middle term. What it's trying to do, Nasrallah said, is he used the word sedition, to foment sedition. That is to say, to exacerbate ethnic and sectarian conflicts in the region. And that, I think, is probably right. And the STL was intended to exacerbate the ethnic or the sectarian conflicts inside Lebanon. But as a general strategy, that's what Israel is banking on now. So, for example, they quoted Shaul Mofaz, one of Israel's leading military figures, as saying that Mofaz said, we have to form an alliance with the Sunnis in the region in order to deter the rising Shia power. So they're going to try to play the ethnic card. And I think that's basically, Nasrallah is a very shrewd political analyst, and I think the picture he paints is basically correct. So in answer to your question, I would say that Israel doesn't feel like it has all that many options because it sees the tide is turning against it. Of course, if they had any brains, they would reach out to Turkey now and try to wean Turkey away from the alliance by giving Turkey the apology and the compensation. But that's where irrationality enters the picture. The Israelis they're becoming crazy. Avigdor Lieberman gave a speech yesterday in which he said there's no way we're going to give an apology to Turkey, and they have a lot of chutzpah asking for an apology. Well, that's craziness. If Abba Eban were the foreign minister, he wouldn't have done something like that. That's just dumb. That's the irrational element that enters politics when you have these ideologically driven hoodlums like Lieberman and Netanyahu.
And what pretext would you guess Israel will use for this war?
From their point of view, they already have a pretext. They say that Hezbollah has acquired all of these long-range missiles. So from their point of view, they have a pretext already. Kurtzer was very straightforward. I'm quoting him. He said it's the more likely that Israel will start the war. He's saying that, from their point of view, they don't even need a pretext now.
Well, that's all the time we have, Professor Finkelstein. I thank you very much for sharing your time with us and for your insightful comments.
Okay, well, thank you, and best of luck to you.
For more information about Professor Finkelstein, his recent articles, and information on his books, please visit his official website at www.normanfinkelstein.com.